Hello everyone and welcome to episode 47 of the Spawn Point podcast. As always, we have Andy on the right hand side.
Hello everybody.
We have Ebbie down in the corner.
Hi.
And we don't have Steve's ghost, we have Steve Barnett, just not his camera, right down below me.
Hello.
So on this episode, we're going to be talking about a couple things. The first thing is Jimmy Kimmel. He's angered a lot of gamers with his comments about YouTube gaming. And we're also going to be talking about Metal Gear Solid 5, how the PC physical disc only comes with a Steam installer. And if we've got some time, we're also going to talk about just a general chit-chat about the games we've been playing recently and what's coming up next that we're planning on getting a copy of. So guys, we've all seen the Jimmy Kimmel video. We've seen the onslaught, as I'm going to call it, of comments, of the death threats. If you haven't seen it, a talk show host by the name of Jimmy Kimmel, on his show, he brought up the subject of YouTube gaming, and it didn't turn out too well because he's a comedian, so he made some jokes, as a comedian does, and the subject matter just so happened to be about people who watch people play video games rather than play them themselves. And he didn't really understand the concept, is what he said. So he did a skit making fun of it, like, where does it end? Admittedly, it was a pretty good skit. It was fine. But a lot of people, in fact, as the dislikes would suggest, 93,000 dislikes it's their most disliked video on YouTube that they've done. And there was a lot of hateful comments. There was stuff from people telling him to get cancer, people telling him to die, to kill himself, people threatening his daughter and his wife, members of his family, people threatening him. And there were some ridiculous comments as well that were still hateful, but they were just so stupid. Like, go F a pigeon, stuff like that.
YouTube comments.
They are just, it's basically like introducing Jimmy Kimmel to general YouTube comments. But there were some like constructive comments, but as we know, they're not going to get covered if, negativity in a group of people or a community always gets outshined more than that. So there were some people saying, hey, this isn't that much different than watching someone, than watching sports, or what people watch reaction videos of people watching trailers, or of doing all sorts of things. But they're the ones who got showed the most. Some of the things that he said were, I think the one thing that really got to some people was when he said they should have called it the We Have Failed as Parents channel, or something like that. Which, it's kind of maybe not that much of a classy joke, but, it doesn't deserve death threats or, any of that stuff, But, he did actually go to Maker Studios, and he watched some videos with two Let's Players, Markiplier and Mrs. May, I think the one, or Miss May. And they sat down, they watched a video of hers, of her dad and her mum, doing Minecraft VR, and it was quite a funny video. And then they made a Let's Play type video. They did Rocket League, and they recorded themselves playing it. Whether that changed his opinion is kind of up for debate. Whether it matters at all is up for debate. So that's what we're going to talk about. First of all, I want to open the floor to all of you. Do any of you watch Let's Play videos, or that type of, watching someone play a video that much, or when's the last time you remember watching one of them?
I do. I watch Let's Players.
What kind of stuff do you watch then?
I watch a little bit of Markiplier. I watch a bit of Yogscast. You could, I suppose you could call it, Let's Play videos like Minecraft and stuff like that. So it is like a Let's Play. Excuse me. I do watch other YouTubers as well. That being said, obviously Jimmy Kimmel doesn't have, it's his own opinion, and like you said, he is a comedian. But I'll let someone else have their point across.
Yeah, so Andy, Ebbie, do you guys watch Let's Play type videos?
Don't particularly watch them as much as I used to. I used to watch them quite a lot, but I find like I'm now levitating more towards sort of informative videos, or like these like did you know type videos.
Sort of like fact videos, review videos.
Yeah. Or opinion pieces, like those type.
I'd say I'm the same. I used to watch Let's Plays pretty much all the time. It was pretty much exclusively what I watched, because I used to play a lot of Minecraft, and watch a lot of Minecraft Let's Players because I always used to get inspiration for what to do in the game from other Let's Players. And now I'm more of a let's watch speedruns sort of person. So
That's almost still like
I'd say
a
it's still
Let's Play,
in
then.
the same. But although
speedruns are a bit different though, because they're not like, oh, we're going to go through this methodically and we're going to look at everything. It's just like, we're going to play this game as fast as possible and exploit the hell out of it.
I'd say that though, both of you guys watch, not Steve, but you, Andy and Ebbie, you both watch Video Gamer TV.
I was gonna say, I have to say, like, most of the stuff that I watch with them is their like informative stuff.
Although they've got the things like the Two Idiots Play, Two Cowards Play.
Yeah, I watch some of them, but not like I generally watch all the stuff like the Millie Report.
Oh, right, yeah.
That
I think personally myself, usually when I do watch people playing video games, I do watch mostly like you, Andy. Watch like the reviews, like interviews. I watch gaming videos to find out more about the game, not necessarily to watch someone else play it. But I do watch like when people play horror games. I love watching people play horror games because sometimes I'm too much of a wimp to play them myself. But I love watching other people react to it. I think the key thing is with Let's Plays that I would say to help Jimmy Kimmel understand would be not that he's watching this, but,
Jimmy, when you're watching this.
But the thing is, if I had the opportunity to sort of speak to him, and I had one question I could ask, or not one question, but one thing I could say to get it across or help him understand, because that's what people should really be doing, is helping him, rather than insulting his opinion, helping him understand theirs. So it's like, I think it's because people like watching the reactions of, like, a lot of that, especially the horror games. You love watching people react to things and the stuff what they think of games when you're like, oh, I've seen this bit in a game, but I wonder what other people think of it.
It's the personality of the person. So, like, and also like stuff like Telltale games. Like, what choices are the person going to make? And if the right person is playing it, then it's a really interesting thing to watch. And that's where you get your enjoyment instead of just playing the game. It's expanding on that almost. So when people are talking about like NHL or like if you're watching a game of football, I think a Let's Play is slightly different to that because you're actually seeing the person's reactions to the game, whereas football is just you watching people play about.
For me, it goes back. It goes back a lot further for me in terms of why I watch Let's Plays, because I find them quite nostalgic in a way. Because I had an older brother when I was growing up, and we used to have to, take turns playing on whatever console it was. So I used to have to watch him play a lot of games, and he'd always complete them before me, and it'd spoil it for me because my brother's butt. So, but yeah, it's quite nostalgic for me to watch Let's Plays in a way.
I was going to say the big thing is esports, like. The whole thing of going, well, why watch someone play a video game when you could play it yourself? Because I can't do the ridiculously skilled things that some people can do, like Evo, for example, and Street Fighter. I can't do that. But watching two people who are way more skilled than me and like wondering who's going to win, or Rocket League's a really fun thing to watch as well. It's like watching, that's like saying with Rocket League, well, why should I watch people play Rocket League when I can get a car and attach rockets to it and do that?
Play football. I think like esports is slightly different to Let's Plays though, because whereas esports you actually someone else is commentating on it generally, like what's happening between the two players, like a traditional game of sports. Whereas a Let's Play is the person that's actually playing the game.
And no offense to
commenting on it.
No offense to Let's Players, but in general, don't tend to be that amazing at the game. From what I've seen, at least, I'm not calling any specific person out, but I'm just saying from a lot of videos I've just randomly come across, they don't seem to be like amazingly good at it. But then sometimes that's also part of the entertainment, is watching someone fail at a game ridiculously bad. Like Two Idiots Play, that's the thing that we've seen. Watching people who are so bad at a game and being able to laugh at their lack of skill is really entertaining. And yeah,
I think it's more entertaining than actually see them complete the game, because with someone that fails a game, there's so much entertainment value you can get from that, because especially when they get angry, they can't complete a level that most people could complete, or whatever.
Yeah, it's not funny when you're angry.
But it is when the other people are watching it. And
I point to this because I've just looked at the look of Andy and Ebbie because I know exactly what they're thinking of. They're thinking of the Rocket League, are they? go on our channel. We've actually got some new videos on our channel, slightly different videos than we normally do, because we usually just did like Vector News, Spawn Point, but we've been trying out some different videos recently. There's Deus Ex video that Andy did. You should check that out. It's about pre-orders. There is also the Rocket League training montage, which is absolutely brilliant, which was an idea that the three of us came up with, like, late at night, and actually became a thing. But the one we're referring to is where I basically rage at Andy for 20 minutes about how bad he is at the game and how bad he's failing. Perfect. And I'm just getting so angry. And some of the stuff that I come out with, I'm not even trying to be funny, but with my rage, I just come out with, and So
it's funny watching back at.
I literally cried watching that video because I was laughing so much.
So just a little plug to put in there. Just check that out. If you like people failing at games, you like people raging, definitely check out our Rocket League match against Permadeath, and also check out Permadeath podcast as well.
Yeah.
But going back on to going back to Jimmy Kimmel. Kimmel fix it.
Controversial.
No, I didn't mean like that.
Controversial. Let's move on.
What did you think about his approach towards about the whole subject of, like, the first initial video of him not making fun, but making jokes about it and doing the whole skit and saying it doesn't make any sense? Because I guess it he has got a point. It doesn't make sense, but for some reason it does, I would say. Like, it's the concept seems ridiculous, but it's actually quite.
I mean, I wonder if you were just to have watched that one video, I wonder if you'd think that he's kind of playing it up just to fit in with the skit that they played, because that is, why watch someone play a video game when you could watch someone play a video game? And if he hadn't have had that lead up to it, then I don't think that might not have been as funny, maybe.
I can totally see why people would have been offended, though, and he was like, "Oh, just call it the Failing His Parents channel or whatever." Like,
that was the thing that kind of it didn't anger me, but it just kind of, I don't know, I felt disappointed.
It irked me the wrong way.
It was a little bit like I was like, I sighed when I watched it.
Was it? I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
I was disappointed. I wasn't angry at him because he's allowed to have his opinion, but I was disappointed because we get enough of mainstream, like when we talked about esports, like a long time back on the Spawn Point, about that morning show or television program. They watched esports and they mocked it, and that was not joke. That wasn't comedians. That was them just taking. And I think people are just sick of mainstream media mocking video games, because it's like we've already got so much of that, and people want it to be taken seriously. That they kind of just got fed up. Now some people got felt about it in different ways. Some people felt to the degree that they would want to wish cancer upon the guy, which I think you should never do, given any situation. You'd never wish death upon somebody. But yeah.
You know what the worst thing you can do is when you have bad comments, go, here are some bad comments, look at how horrible these people are, because then it's just going to make them even angrier.
People started making comments. Someone said that I think people are going to start making comments just to get on the show now. Yeah. And I think some of those comments were made just to appear on national television, just to be like, "Oh yeah, I got my."
Maybe
I'm gonna jump in right on this one. I understand from where Jimmy Kimmel was coming from, right? Because his age, he even admitted it on the video that he made. Maybe he's a little bit old and he doesn't really understand that. I get that point, right? But the point I don't get is the people that are commenting when they got really angry and they said, "Oh, I wish cancer upon you. I dare you to start your car in the morning, Jimmy Kimmel." Right? I get that people are angry, but what I don't get is when you start sending death threats to a comedian. That's his job. His job is to report on things and try and make it as controversial and funny as possible. But at the end of the day, maybe he got himself into too much deep water, and he went a little bit too far. But I get the point.
Did you see the comment though about the sheep audience or whatever? And then it's like, it's attacking you guys. And they're like, oh,
yeah,
because they just literally that's a different subject entirely about how the audience just laugh at everything that the person says, even if they don't get it. Like, it's, they're like, YouTube gaming. I don't understand what that is, but
yeah. The thing is, I thought it was going to end on this like really high note where it's like, yeah, I sort of understand it a little bit better now. I've spent time with Markiplier and we made this video. I still don't understand it, but I get it. But he ended the whole thing with like, let's have a hug. Oh, you should get out more and see more people because this isn't how real people hug or whatever. And I was like.
And that's why people say, did it really achieve anything? Was it really worth doing? Because his opinion hasn't really changed.
No, I think what it is look at his age, right? If you look at like gamers of our age, of our, where we came from, and look at Jimmy Kimmel. So compare those two ages up.
But there are a lot of people that are his age that do play games.
Because they were brought up in that environment.
No, but his age, I was in a game shop the other day. I saw a man in his I try not to insult him, but he looked like he was in his late 40s, early 50s sort of age. And he was just looking through, he looked at Dead Island Riptide, he was looking through certain games and thinking of picking them up. There is a big age range.
I think I mentioned it before, but unfortunately, died when I was 10. But my granddad used to play Sonic, and he had a Sega Mega Drive, and he was 60 at the time. So he would be nearly 80 now.
Yeah.
So really old and
I think
playing games still.
What Ebbie said kind of leads into a point that I was thinking prior to us recording this episode, which was, I think the best way he could have gone about, just making one video, but then going, it wasn't a video because it was part of the show, but he could have, expanded that first bit where, okay, he made a skit, he made fun of it, and then he went, so he makes some jokes, they show the skit about where does it end, and he says, and then he goes on to say, but do you know what, I might just be out of touch, I might just need some educating. And then goes on to say, so what I did was I went to these two people, Markiplier and Mrs. May, and see what it was all about. If he did that straight after, it's like going, I'm making fun of something, but I'm admitting that I might just be a bit ignorant or a bit narrow-minded, so I'm going to be open-minded and try it out. Because he said, on one of the videos, I'm quite an open-minded person. Well then, if that's the case, why in the first video did he just shoot it down and then nothing else?
It seems like after all of the comments, he's just trying to save face by doing that and making it look like he's gone out there to try and find out more, even though he potentially is a bit closed-minded to it still.
I think what irked me the most is when it ended on that, real people don't hug like this. Yeah. And I'm like, you don't have to make everything a joke just because you're a comedian.
But the thing is that it was no longer a joke at that point. It had become a serious a serious matter to people, and the people commenting were taking it seriously. So he should have had a serious approach towards the end and gone, but in all seriousness, he was actually, when he watched the Minecraft VR stuff, I'm sure I saw him crack a smile a few times and actually thought it was quite entertaining.
I get that point, but I still think now, to this point, he still doesn't get the concept of why people sit down and play video games and why do people watch them? Why do people find so much entertainment value when you can go do that yourself? Or in one of the comments it said, if you don't have the money to buy a video game, you watch other people play it. And like you said, Matt, if you don't have the guts to play the game yourself, you watch other people play it because it's entertainment value.
Or going on that as well, if there's a game on Xbox that someone really wants to play, but they don't have an Xbox or a game, or it could be any other console, again, that can be a way into actually seeing what this game is about without actually going out and spending the money, like you're saying, buying the console as well.
It almost felt like he had just gone there and thought, I'll try this out just to shut you guys up, sort of thing. It almost felt like he'd been backed into a corner, because one video he's like, do you know what? I haven't actually watched these videos myself. If someone wants to, he kind of throwed around the idea of maybe checking them out. The next video when he got more hate, he's like, oh, I'm actually going to go to somewhere. And then he actually goes there and they still give him hate. But it's just the fact of, you don't have to necessarily like everything or like certain things. You just have to make an effort to try and understand them, and then try and, there's certain things that I don't like, but I get why people enjoy them. It's like the whole thing of, most of us, we don't watch Let's Plays that often at the moment, but we kind of get why other people do. And I think that's what Jimmy Kimmel failed to do, is that he only really went to understand it when people were getting angry at him. He should have done it beforehand. It should have been a natural, oh, I'll go check it out and see what this fuss is about.
I've got one thing. I know this is completely different, but I've actually got a friend, and he's taken up the thing of like knitting, right? And I know this sounds a little bit funny, but he's like 28, and he likes knitting things, right? For his cousins and stuff like that. The thing is, when I first heard that, I was like, really? But I kind of understood, because that's what he likes to do. I wouldn't sit there myself and watch videos. That is what he does.
Well, it's this whole thing of having an idea and then
exactly, and I respect his idea. I respect his ideas, and I respect what he does. But I wouldn't sit there myself and do that. I wouldn't sit there myself and watch the video. But I wouldn't sit there and criticize other people, because that is what they like to do. That's their own opinion, and that's what they like to do.
The final point about this is that what do you think about the people that reacted to these videos? The comments about the cancer and life support and starting.
That stuff is such an overreaction. Just such an overreaction. There's no need for it.
Those comments about cancer and stuff. That's what our community is like, right? There's no need to be like that. You can be angry at a certain person, but don't wish death on their family. Like, I dare you to start your car in the morning. Imagine if he has his kids in there. Imagine if someone did carry out that threat and did do it, and his kids.
I mean, he said that people made threats to his daughter. Like, his daughter has nothing to do with it anyway. Imagine you're his daughter and you go, "Oh, I'm just going to see what people are saying about my dad," and they see people making threats to you, and you're like, "What have I done?" And you're that young as well, and you might even though there might be empty threats, you might be a bit worried.
But that's what our community's like, is we're very kind of, as soon as something like ammunition gets fired at us, we fire back with the most hateful comments we can possible, because that is what us gamers are like, and it's wrong.
No, not
every single gamer. I'm not saying that, but people that comment on videos that are hateful, this is what the community's like. Not all of them, not every single person.
No, but that isn't what the community's like. That is what the community is perceived to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'd like to say it's not just the gaming community as well, because I'm in the anime community.
No.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's every single community. But as soon as something's put upon a community, they will act back, like, things like that. It's gone a little bit too far, I wish cancer in your family, or, whatever. It's just, that's a little bit too far.
I think it's got something to do with the I'm not going to be able to say this word, anonymity of the internet.
Anonymity.
Yeah, because someone can't see your face, and because you actually, so for example, I like calling Matt, like, I wish you had cancer, Matt, or something. You can see my face, and then you can put a face to what I'm saying, and I can see that I'm insulting you.
I mean,
but if it's just YouTube user 316 or something saying that, then he can't necessarily put a face to them, and he can't say, oh, it's you, and actually be able to call that person out. They're anonymous. Almost.
I think the community as a whole needs to represent itself a little bit better, as not as like, oh, you need to stop making threats, but just continue, if you are, to make intelligent comments and be as eloquent as possible, because the gaming community's had a really rough couple of years.
And also learn how to spell as well.
I've seen so many comments on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there are people doing positive things. Like, there's people doing charity work, raising money for charity through these gaming videos and through these gaming streams. But that's all going to get overlooked at if we've got all these people just making negative comments.
But look at these charity gamers. Play games for charity. Look at the hate they get sometimes. We all see it. Like, people give these streamers and these YouTubers that are doing these video games for charity. Look at the hate they get, and it's just unreal. Like, given to cancer research.
But, I mean, but like from a mainstream perspective of somebody who, like, someone in that audience of Jimmy Kimmel who was laughing, and, didn't really understand it either. Their perception now is going to be, oh, well, I best avoid people who like video games or anything to do with that, because this is the kind of stuff they say. It's not true, but it's just going to be the stereotype that a lot of people are going to create around, this sort of community. But if you do want to see a talk show host that does understand it and does embrace it and is absolutely hilarious with the videos he does, check out Conan O'Brien, because he does Clueless Gamer. That is a talk show host, right? He just does one-off videos. He doesn't do like a full Let's Play series, but he has a segment on his show where he's like he acts as this guy's just like completely clueless. He's really bad at games, and his friend called Aaron, who's also part of the show, he is the smart one. He's the one who knows what he's doing, and he plays like The Witcher 3 and other stuff like that. And he just makes stupid remarks and comments, and we're all laughing at him in a way because of like him failing at the game sort of thing, like we said before. So definitely check out Clueless Gamer if you do want to see a talk show host that does sort of do that stuff. I do just want to finalise by the point that you'll notice that throughout this entire conversation, although some of us said that we didn't appreciate maybe what some of the things that Jimmy Kimmel said, we never threatened him or made a death threat. You can disagree with somebody's opinion without actually wishing death upon them. It's just a crazy thought, but maybe, think about it sometime. But yeah, I think we've said what we need to say about that one. But speaking of people being angry, Metal Gear Solid 5, this is my segue. The PC copy of Metal Gear Solid 5 has a Steam installer, meaning that you have to install the entire game, even if you've got the physical disc. You have to download it from Steam, the 28 gigabytes. Is that how big the total file is? 28 gigabytes?
It's something ridiculous like that, yeah.
And so some people obviously are not happy about this. The first question I want to ask is, when was the last time you bought a physical copy of a PC game?
A PC game?
Yeah, a game that's on PC. It's physical. You got the disc.
No, I've never. No.
Wasteland 2.
Oh, did you?
So, in 2014, I think that came out.
Mine was Assassin's Creed 3 on the day that came out on PC, which was a month after the console releases. And I still had to activate the game through Uplay and couldn't play it offline.
I never use Uplay. If there's a game that's like by Ubisoft and it's like, I have to use Uplay, I just go, well, maybe I'll get it on console because I only use Steam.
That was my first time buying a Ubisoft game for PC, and I wanted the special edition, and it was £60 on PC or £110 on Xbox 360.
I mean,
so I was
that is the thing. Even though a lot of us people go, well, we just buy games on Steam now. Get with the times, Grandpa. You're such an old timer. But people do buy special editions and collector's editions, which do come with physical discs. And there's still a group of people that like to have the physical copies of things, and they don't want to have to also download it when they can just install it from the disc.
I think not only that, we were talking about this earlier, but there are people that don't necessarily have a decent enough internet connection to download it, or they have data caps. So the reason they're buying a physical disc is so that they don't have to waste all of their data or spend like a day downloading a game. So you don't often buy physical ones, you guys. Steve can't even remember, I don't think. Did you ever, Steve? You must have done at some point, like ages ago, like with some of the old.
Yeah, I did. Actually, thinking about it now, I did buy
before Steam was.
Yeah. It was called Empire Earth. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's like a medieval. Have you ever heard of it?
Good game, really good game.
I put like 1,000 hours into that one before the internet came out. No, before the internet came out. The internet was out, but.
See all those people going, Steve just plays Call of Duty.
No, I couldn't afford to have the internet, so I used to play Empire Earth, and I used to beat the computer every time on easy.
Oh man, like while I was at uni, we had a house LAN network playing Empire Earth, and we spent like days playing it, and going, shit, where's the day gone? We've just spent it all going from one age to the end. Like fuck.
That was like me with Age of Empires. I think that was the last time I bought. It was either one of the Sims games, or I think Sims 3 I might have bought on disc, or Sims 2 on them, but I bought the earlier Age of Empire games, and I played them, and there was one where I just spent time where you could make like your own custom thing, and I was young at the time, and I was like, I'm just going to make loads of soldiers on this team, and then make loads to other teams, and just spawn like hundreds of units, and just watch them kill each other, and see who comes out on top. And I was just...
I did actually get the Elder Scrolls Anthology after Assassin's Creed, but I've never used the discs because I already own all the games on Steam, so...
Yeah, I think the previous game before that was probably Star Trek Armada 2. And,
wow, you nerd.
and that came out years ago.
It's just so easy to not buy physical PC games now.
Unless you want some special edition, I guess.
Yeah.
I think I'm less inclined to buy PC games on a disc than I am console games. Like, I think having a physical copy of a console game is actually, I prefer that.
Well, that's got resale value.
Number one, it's got resale value, even though they probably won't get resold. But number two, like, because the consoles have got a finite disk space amount on them, if you're just downloading, especially like PlayStation, if you're downloading all of the PlayStation Plus games like every single month, your hard drive fills up so quickly, and you can upgrade the disc, but like that's obviously more money. And you need to get the right type to be able to fit in it, and it's a bit finicky to do that as well. Whereas if you have a disc on it, I know a lot of games nowadays you need to install stuff even though you've got a disc.
And the biggest difference between Steam and like buying games digitally on Xbox or the PlayStation Store or Nintendo, I think even Nintendo's eShop, is that they're all so much more expensive digitally. And Ubisoft more or less said that the reason that's the case with their games at least is because they can get away with it.
Yeah,
because it's convenient shopping.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of discussion where people have been like, oh, we should charge less money for digital games, but not our games. Our games are special, and we should be able to charge
you guys should all do it,
price. Yeah.
It costs less because you don't need to make all of the packaging and distribute it as well.
I think Iwata said at some point that the reason that they kept the eShop prices so high was because they felt their games were worth that. They were worth that price. They would get, like, users would get enough playtime out of it to justify that price.
It's still the same game as if they got it physically, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and it's cheaper physically, so I kind of don't get it, and I've never bought a digital game on...
It seems to me like, I'm like, okay, so this physical copy that I've just bought, it's cost you more to make. You've had to produce the disc, the packaging, the instruction manuals, all of that stuff. It's cost you more, and you're charging me less for it. Are you insane? If
I can, like, buy a game for a console and have a physical copy of it, and it be cheaper, I will do that. If there is no other way to buy the game, I will buy it through the eShop or whatever.
The only games that I bought on like the Nintendo eShop are like previous Virtual Console games.
That's not true. You bought Xenoblade Chronicles on the eShop.
Shit, I did, didn't I?
Yep.
I tell a lie. So, I wished I bought physical.
Do you think that, final point about this topic, do you think that more games are going to do this, like in the future, they're just going to have a Steam installer, or do you think that more games are going to move away from physical?
I just want to bring this point up. Can you imagine if you got the Fallout anthology where it comes in the bomb and you opened it up and it just had a Steam installer and 5 codes for all the different games? That'd be ridiculous.
I can't remember what game it was. I think it was The Sims 4. When people got that, it had a physical disc in it, and then there was a note inside it saying, pretty much ignore the disc. Here's a code to download it from the internet.
But there was Halo 5. They had like their special collector's edition or something. Comes with, you get all these like statues or other cool stuff you get in addition, but the game comes with a digital, not a physical copy for a console game. So everyone was like freaking out, getting like, "What's this? Ridiculous!" So they're saying, "Oh well, we can replace that with the physical one," but there's some sort of, I don't know, it's more complicated than it needs to be. Like, once you get the game, I don't know, something like, it's not as straightforward as just going, "Oh well, we'll sell it with a physical one instead." Like, they'll still send you the digital thing unless you request otherwise or something.
That's ridiculous. So that's just completely ridiculous.
But if they did that with PC and they said, "Okay, look, here's the special edition, but here's a Steam download code," would you be angry?
Absolutely.
You would be angry.
Because the reason that I've bought that is to have this physical thing, even if it's like something that can't be reused again or whatever.
But what if you're one of these people who wants the special edition stuff but doesn't want the disc and wants to do it through Steam? Like, maybe you could.
Then you could trade the game in or something.
Maybe they could have it where you can request if you want physical or digital copy. That seems the best workaround. If you want to cater to the people, you know, sort of who want that special stuff, but they don't want the disc, then you can do either or.
I feel like my thing is I want to get as much out of a thing that I've paid for as possible, and I feel like having a disc helps with that.
It's like the other thing is that when games come bundled with like a digital art book or something, I don't really want to look at an art book online, because you can just go on the internet and just look on Google for that. I prefer to actually have a physical, like if I'm going to get an art book for a game, physical copy of it, because it just feels like it's worth more to me than just having it all digitally.
Probably is worth more in general as well.
And probably.
So we've probably got a bit of time left just to run through what have people been playing, and what have they been playing this week, and also what are you guys planning on getting next? What's the next game that you're planning on getting?
I finished Xenoblade Chronicles
on 3DS.
On the 3DS. I've had the game since April, and it's taken me until the beginning of September to finish it. It took me 99 hours and 44 minutes.
It's basically 100 hours, pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Though, I went onto New Game Plus today, and I thought, okay, the New Game Plus in Xenoblade Chronicles is really weird, because it takes anything that you have equipped, puts it into New Game Plus, and then it's like, okay, now you can choose 30 weapons, and 60 bits of clothing, and 60 materials, and 60 ingredients, and whatever. And I was like, okay, but it deletes all of your side quests. I spent probably about half of that playtime just doing side quests, and it's all gone now.
They're all rubbish anyway.
Yeah, they were, but some of them were actually quite helpful.
I have a question to you about Xenoblade Chronicles. From somebody who... So, Xenoblade Chronicles X is coming out on Wii U at the end of this year. From somebody who loves RPG games and plays them all the time, but has only played JRPGs every now and again, doesn't play them that often. How likely am I, just based on that, to enjoy Xenoblade Chronicles X?
I think X looks like it's going to be kind of different to the original Xenoblade Chronicles, because it's got a lot of guns and mechs and stuff in it, so I think you'll probably enjoy it, because I don't play JRPGs that often. I play Pokemon, I've played Eternal Sonata, I've been playing some of the Tales of games, and I've played Xenoblade Chronicles, and Xenoblade Chronicles grabbed me maybe about 5 hours in, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool.
More of an RPG that caters more to a JRPG that caters more to the Western audience more than maybe some others? Or?
No, I think it's definitely catered more towards the home market, I guess. Okay. But it was easy to get into, and once I understood the mechanics of it, I was like, okay, I totally get this. I really get this. I feel like I'm great at this game. And there's layers to it where you can choose to do side quests, or you can not do side quests, or you can choose to explore, you can not do that. It just depends on what you want to do with the game, from what I've seen, because you don't do any side quests at all, do you, Andy?
The side quests, apparently some of the later ones are more interesting.
Some of them are really important, they unlock arts on the Monado and stuff, and I'm like, why is that optional? That's so important.
And I just looked at them and was like, oh, go and fetch 5 of these. And it's like, I don't give a shit about this. There isn't any reason for me to do that other than just to complete this side quest, and I don't care about it. I think one of the things that you might not like about it, and I assume X is going to be similar, is definitely in the later game. I remember you telling me, Ebbie, that pretty much the last 4 or 5 hours playtime was just grinding.
Okay. Just to get no, not the last 4 or 5 hours playtime. It was more like the last 16 hours of my playtime was grinding.
I don't. So sort of that MMO mentality of grind sort of thing.
To me, there's different ways to get experience. You can get it through side quests, or you can get it through actual fights and stuff. And I always found the battle palette that they have at the bottom of the screen to be really intuitive and quite interesting. And I don't think you were a fan of it, or was it Kinross that wasn't a fan?
I kind of jump about being a fan of it and not being a fan of it, but I don't think the tutorials in the game are absolute garbage. They don't teach you how to do it well enough.
That's true. I will give you that.
In terms of grinding, I don't mind too much of that, because I've played games like Borderlands, which are just absolute grind fests after a while. when you get into later levels, it's just rinse and repeat. And I have done that. I've played MMOs where a lot of it is just grinding. As long as the entire thing from like level 1 to level whatever is just repeat the same task again and again and again and again and again. As long as there's a bit of variation there, I'd probably be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like some things to keep it interesting.
I mean, from what I've seen in the story, I'm about 5 hours away from the end of something.
What level are you?
75?
Okay, yeah, you're about
Something.
5 or 6 hours away from the end. Where you are.
And like the story so far, like I've really been invested with the story. It's just the actual fact that of the grinding and everything, and I just don't enjoy that. And I think that's what's going to stop me from picking up X.
The thing that worries me about X is that it's not a handheld game, and I know that sounds like really backwards, but the fact that I can pick up Xenoblade Chronicles and go, oh, I'm going to grind for a bit while I'm bored on my bus ride, or I'm going to play it for half an hour before I go to sleep or whatever, whereas X is going to be like this, okay, got to sit down, got to play this game, because I got to do it, because otherwise I'm not going to finish it.
The only reason I got as far as I did, welcome back by the way guys, was the fact that I had like to commute an hour to and from work for about 3 months. And that's the only reason, because it's like, yeah, I've got this train journey, I'm just going to, like you said, grind a bit, and then, I can just pop it away and whack it in my bag, and then I haven't really lost anything. And if I hadn't done that, like, I don't think I would have got as far as I did, and definitely now I don't have to do that. It's just sort of not been played, really.
Well, I've got to be honest, I'm going to be picking up X as soon as it comes out, because I absolutely love the way that it looks, and I got really invested in the Xenoblade world, so I'm going to be picking it up.
Though, that's the thing.
I might, because I've never played a Xenoblade game before, I'm intrigued by what I've seen of it on the directs and stuff, and I'm like, it's weird, because I'm not like a massive JRPG guy, and I saw that, I was like, this looks like a really fun game, and it looks like I'd quite enjoy it. You know, just sometimes you see games, you're like, you see the gameplay, and you're like, yeah, I think
the environments are its biggest credit, because they have these like huge, expansive open areas that are like areas that you would see in an MMO. But it's all single player. It's all for you to just explore and just see. And I think that's one of its biggest credits, and probably the reason that I'm very excited about X coming out. I'm probably not going to get to play it until next year, but I'm still going to pick it up just in case, because it's a JRPG, and who knows if it'll be in print for longer than a month. So
I think.
Sorry.
I was going to say, I think I'm just getting burned out with open world games at this point, though.
You say that. That brings me on to my other point. Actually, Ebbie, before I start through that segue, is there anything else you've been playing other than Xenoblade recently?
Pokemon Shuffle. Fuck that game.
Free-to-play mobile games. Yay!
Yep.
That's it.
That's all I've got.
So, talking about being burnt out of open world games, Andy, you just had Andy say he's burnt out of open world games.
I said I'm getting burnt out. I'm getting burnt out.
I'm going to bring it on to a game which me and Andy have both played quite a lot of, which is Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. Okay, Andy, I want to know, how many hours have you put into the game so far? And mind you, it's only been out since the 1st of September.
It's the 6th as we record it.
I've got 28 hours.
Oh my god, I've caught up with you. Okay.
Like I said, I haven't played much in the last couple of days. Yeah.
I'm the complete opposite. The other day, I said to Andy's like, so how much have you played? I said 6.5 hours. I've now played 25 hours.
So I feel like we're both at a stage where we've got a fairly good understanding of what the hell is going... Well, not what the hell is going on in the game. What the game is about, though.
Yeah.
Because no one knows what the hell is going on.
Yeah, it's Metal Gear. I think the thing that gripped me... I'm going to make a very bold...
What the fuck? Sorry. I'm so sorry. I knocked my keyboard and it turned my camera off.
So, okay. Wait for the spinny circle. Okay. Waiting for the spinny circle.
I'm gonna leave the call and come back.
Okay. It's alright, I know what I was about to say, so I can pick up from there.
Okay. That's good.
There's going to be all these awkward jump cuts.
I'm so sorry, it's all my fault.
It's okay. Right. So as I was saying, I think that the thing with Metal Gear Solid 5 that gripped me the most, well, there's 3 times that I realised that I'd fallen in love with Metal Gear. This Metal Gear. One, I discovered that you could rugby tackle your horse. Two, when I realised that you could play Ride of the Valkyries on your cassette player and storm into a base on a truck while going da 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 da, and just ram in there and cause absolute havoc. The third time was when I realised that you could use this Fulton device where you could just send things up on a little parachute. Like there's a sheep on the road. You go, I'm going to attach a balloon to it. It goes, boom, it shoots up and goes, meh, and it flies up into the sky, goes back to your mother base, which is like your base of operations. You can expand it. You can add a zoo to it, apparently.
Yeah, I haven't found it yet, but apparently I've got one.
Yeah, it's like in the middle of the ocean, and you just have like a main platform, and you can have like bits separated off, and you can fly from one point to another by helicopter or go by jeep. The bit where it's going to get really interesting, and I want to get to this part in the game, which is episode 22 you have to get to, is where you can invade other people's mother bases. So I can go to Andy's base and steal all of his resources, and he can be on and try and kill me while I'm doing it. And his guards at his mother base could also try and kill me as well.
I don't know how invested I'm going to be with that. But, I mean, I've been enjoying it so far. Like, there are some of the like missions that you can do, and I generally start playing them trying to be as stealthy as possible. That generally fucks up quite easily. But I like the fact how, like, once you've researched all of this, like, everything, or I haven't researched everything, but you get in that way, you're getting more and more stuff that you're researching. So now I can call in, like, a helicopter, like, attack on the base, or I can ask for an artillery strike. And there's lots of different ways that you can complete the mission. It sort of limits your grade, like, if you start calling in artillery or start getting air support in. But it's just the fact that you can do it stealthily. I mean, or you can just go balls to the ground and just shoot everything up. That is
the great thing about, I think with, like, at least my memory might serve me incorrectly, but with, like, Metal Gear 3 or 4, or both of those games, if you tried to run in there like Rambo, you would just, it wouldn't work. Like, you kind of almost have to be stealthy, I feel.
Yes,
it kind
no.
of would be not to the degree that you can in Phantom Pain, because it feels like because it's so open. I was so skeptical at first when I heard that it was going to be open world. I was like, I don't know if it's going to work with a Metal Gear game, and then it's that freedom as well. You can approach things from any angle, and how you approach it. Like, am I going to sneak up with a cardboard box? You can do this ridiculous thing where you can put a guard on your cardboard box, like a poster sticker thing. And you can stand up, so when a guard looks at you, he goes, huh? What's that? And he looks at the cardboard box and he sees a guard, like painted guard, stand like that. And then he'll salute back at you, thinking it's real. And then you can open the flap, like, of the cardboard box, then just shoot him in the head and tranquilise him.
There is some silly stuff like that. I think like some of the concepts of some of the missions, like, are really boring. Like, there was one where you've got to go around and destroy a load of like tanks and a convoy. And it's like, okay, that's this sort of standard thing. But the fact
is that the one where you have to, you have a time limit and you have to destroy?
Yeah, but
I'm on that. I hate that.
I really enjoyed that because it's sort of like, it gives you the time limit and it sort of mixes up a bit. And I actually like found that they've got some quite boring concepts for like some missions, like go and rescue a prisoner. But they're actually made interesting with just the way that they've put it all together, and found it quite fun. And just the fact that it's like the Metal Gear universe, and that is just crazy as shit. Like, in the prologue, there's a part where there's a flaming whale for some reason just in the background. You're like, what? Why is there a whale? I do have some issues with it
though. I would go as far as to say, I'm going to make a bold statement now.
Right.
Which is that I actually, and I've thought about this from playing it, initially, because I didn't put much playtime into it to start with, and like for the first like day or so, I was like, I like it, but I don't know if I like it that much. As soon as I got to the whole thing of the mother base and this whole thing of when you start to realise that you do this thing of when you're trying to recruit people to your mother base, you can send them off in this balloon and shoot them into the sky as well. And it's this whole thing, you realise you start looking and going, oh, these guys are useless. I'm going to kill those guys, but I'm going to tranquilize these guys because they could be useful at my base. And so you start picking and choosing a bit. Or you start thinking, instead of, like, there'll be missions where it's like, oh, it will say eliminate this Spetsnaz commander. You can kill him, or you might think it might be more useful for me to tranquilize him and then recruit him to my mother base, and then he'll be a useful asset. It's things like that are quite good. And the more I had the mother base and expanding it and all the upgrades and all that stuff, and just, I'm going to say that the way I've been going with this game so far, I'm fairly confident in saying this is probably one of the best games I've played of all time.
It's definitely a contender for like game of the year for me, I think.
For me, I'm saying like all time. I think this is turning into that, where it's one of, I can't remember enjoying, it's one of those 5 a.m. games. And what I mean by 5 a.m. is where it's Friday evening and you're playing the game and you're like, oh, I'm just going to play it for a few hours. And then you're like, a few hours turns into a few more hours. And you're having so much fun. You look down and you're like, oh my God, it's 5 a.m. in the morning and I'm still playing this. I should really go to bed.
I would like to point out, Andy rang me the other day and was like, I'm really tired. I think I'm going to go to bed. And I'm like, all right then. Speak to you tomorrow. Found out the next morning that instead of, in his exhausted state, going to bed, he stayed up for another couple of hours to play MGS.
Yeah, but it's fine. Like, I was enjoying it.
You didn't sound like you were having fun. I'm going to be honest. You're like, I feel like I'm dying.
But the one thing that kind of a bit disappointed about, like, and I went into it knowing full well this was going to be a thing, is the fact that there isn't sort of expansive story as the other Metal Gear games. It because it's the open world, you only get little
like
drips.
There's some
and
sense of that when you're doing the main missions, though. I don't want to go into spoiler territory at all, but like, just sometimes there's just like, there aren't as many cutscenes, which I almost kind of appreciate a bit more. Like, there are just ridiculous amount of cutscenes in the other games, which is like, I don't want to sit there for 40 minutes and watch through what's essentially going to be a movie.
I mean, there was like one of the side ops where there's like a character from like the Metal Gear series that you have to go and rescue, and like there was some extra cutscenes in that I wasn't expecting, and I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. I wish there was more of this stuff in it. And that's one of the things that I don't particularly like about it. Also, the prologue. I thought that you being like lifeless and just sort of crawling around on the floor, just being like I don't know, yeah, that was. I found some of the first bit just really boring.
Like your legs fall asleep
because you come out of this coma after 9 years, and it's like, okay, when you're being attacked by people like that have come to kill you, it's like, right, we need to get out of here. Thunk on the floor, crawling about.
It does take a while for you get adrenaline. It takes a while to kick in, but the prologue is so ridiculous. But it also is sort of explained to a degree where, if you listen to one of the cassette tapes, he says that, oh, you might be seeing because of the coma and some of the effects of losing your arm, you might see some things that you might normally, because of the whole stress and of waking up from a coma and the whole thing of that and everything that's gone on, you might start seeing some things that might be an exaggerated version of what they actually are, or seeing things that might not actually be there. And then Snake says, Big Boss says in it, yeah, I think I have seen that, which he does sort of.
But I mean, it doesn't sort of explain the fact that like there's all these zombie soldiers like walking about the place.
That's true.
Because I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough. The whole prologue,
but it's Kojima. It's Kojima, so you know it's going to be ridiculous to some degree.
Also, can we mention how many times Kojima's name is in that game?
Directed and starring.
It's every fucking mission.
As the credits, yeah.
You must have seen it like 100 times already.
You can even hire him as someone to work at your mother base. He's actually in the game. You can rescue him.
Yeah, so if you got a save from Ground Zeroes and you upload that, then you get like Kojima in some other base. But there's a couple of the issues that I had. Like I found some of the terrain not really in the Afghanistan section, like in the Africa section, which is like one of the ones you go into next. some of the terrain's really janky. Like there's some slopes that you expect like you'll be able to run up really easily, and if you move to the right or the left, you can run up it easily, but you just end up just falling backwards, and it's like that was getting quite frustrating at the moment.
But I mean, there is so much content in this game because there's like 157 side ops that you can do. It's apparently there's like 50 main missions. And there's a whole free roaming aspect and upgrading your mother base. And then there's the FOB mode, which is the mother base invasions type thing. And then next month they're introducing Metal Gear Online. So there's quite a lot you're getting for your money.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it just seems that that's such a small thing, like in it, that could have quite easily been ironed out. Like,
that's true.
And it's just, I really like the game. It's just detracting from it a bit. There's stuff like when you're pressing like. Just to select your main weapons, you get 2 main weapons and 2 sidearms, and then a load of like specials and other items. So if you ups main weapons and you click up once, and it changes. Once you click it again, it changes between your 2 primaries, and then downs the secondaries. That I'm finding okay. What I'm having a bit of an issue with is when you press left to go into your support weapons, you've got like your night vision, your cardboard boxes, whatever you've unlocked. Every time I sort of turn off the night vision and want to turn it back on because like the batteries run out or something, it seems to default back to the cardboard box. And I'm like, I'm sort of in the prone position on the ground. I want to turn on night vision, but he puts the cardboard box on and then crouches like, oh fuck, you turned that off, and then you're in a crouch position. Yeah. And it's like I still wanted to be on the floor, and then someone sees you, and like, oh fuck, that has really been annoying me.
But overall, you're enjoying it. You think it's really
good? Yeah. Do you know the thing about the cardboard boxes and fast travel?
Well, you can slide down on a slope.
No. Oh. In some of the towns, there's a little like orange platform, and it's got like a ticket, and you can take the ticket. And if you get like more than one of them, you can actually, if you stand on it with a cardboard box, you can actually fast travel between the bases.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, so which is like something I was expecting you to be able to helicopter between the like landing zones, which you can't. Which, again, that seems like a bit of a mistrick because you get the minigun on the side of it, and
I think they're such nitpicky, like it's such small minor things.
Those are really minor.
There's no game breaking thing here. Like I think it's worth getting. I think it's an incredible game. There are obviously there's going to be tiny. Every game has them, but there are the tiny odd problems. But overall, like what I was expecting was like down here, and what I ended up experiencing, I'd say, was like up here. So,
I think
I was going to say, is there anything else that you've been playing other than Metal Gear, or is it just that been mostly what's consumed your week?
I've been playing Lara Croft Go.
That's the mobile game, right, isn't it?
That's the mobile game from Squeenix. It costs £3 on the App Store, and that's actually, I think, worth picking up. It's a bit of a puzzle game, so you have to go around like different routes and trying to get to the exit. But you come across different enemies, like there's snakes there. If you go if the snake's sort of facing you and you go within 1 block, then it attacks you and kills you. But you can attack it from the side and actually kill it. And there's like a gecko, which when you get 2 blocks away from it, it starts following the track you've gone. And there's different enemies like that, and it's just trying to figure out like the puzzles of how do you get to the end zone around all of these different enemies, and how can you avoid them or kill them and not get killed yourself. And there's like buttons and stuff as it goes through, and there's just more and more stuff that jumps in. And I've actually been having a lot of fun with that. It does drain your battery really quickly though.
I think the only mobile game I've ever really played is Fallout Shelter. I don't really feel really hesitant, especially like paying for games. Like I'll play free games maybe a little bit, but I mean the only time I've ever spent loads of time in a mobile game is probably Fallout Shelter.
It's Pokemon Shuffle. Fuck that game.
Great game. It's actually really like interesting, and the art style is really nice as well. Sort of like it's sort of almost cel shaded. It does have microtransactions in it, which it says on the App Store, but they're costumes and the solutions to all the puzzles, so you don't have to buy them. But that's it. That's all I've been playing those 2 games.
So you may be wondering, we haven't heard Steve for a little bit, but he actually has to go now, I've been informed. But, so...
Hi, Steve.
Bye, Steve. But
I am here. I'm going to be going right now, but I have enjoyed myself on this podcast.
I got to hear him talk about Jimmy Kimmel, his thoughts and all that, and what he thinks about Let's Plays.
Yes, very much so. I kind of take his points, what Jimmy Kimmel said, and I also kind of take the points of what the community says.
Quickly before you go, you've been playing some Borderlands with me, haven't you, this week?
Yeah, the original Borderlands.
Because you haven't been playing much games recently, but Borderlands...
No, because I've been super, super busy, but we will get back into that. But yeah, I have been playing a little bit of Borderlands, and I will say I've thoroughly enjoyed myself playing Borderlands. It's been an exciting experience, put it that way. I kind of forgot how to use the controller altogether, but... Yeah, I know, Andy, I know. But I kind of did. It's like riding a bike, Once you've learned how to ride a bike, you can ride it. But I kind of forgot how to use a controller.
We'll let you off.
It got the
thank you.
Got the deal. It was a Borderlands Humble Bundle, so I bought it for Steve. It was $1. You get the original Borderlands game and pretty much all of the DLC apart from one of them, which usually they cost about £10 each or something. So it was a big saving. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for having me on. I sound like a guest. I should be a guest, really. Anyway, thank you very much for having me on, and I'll see you guys in the next podcast.
See you, Steve.
Bye.
So you might be noticing a lot of jumps in between this episode, and we apologise for that. There's been a lot of issues, and Steve's gone now. But just talking our last bits about what games we've been playing. Andy, have you played Grow Home at all? It was one of the PlayStation... Have you downloaded any of these PlayStation Plus games?
I don't think so.
Terrible.
I need to do it.
So on PlayStation Plus, if you've got an Xbox, there's Dear God, which is available for free.
God of the Deers?
God of the Deers. It's like a 2D pixel art type game. And then I think you get Tomb Raider Definitive Edition free from September the 16th to October the 16th.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Which is obviously a promotional thing leading up to Rise of the Tomb Raider. For PlayStation Plus, you get quite a few games thanks to crossplay. There's Teslagrad, Super Time Force, Super Time Force Ultra, and there is another one called Zeo Drifter, which I didn't really like, and Grow Home. And Grow Home is the one that won the Vote to Play program. Didn't vote for it myself, but I kind of feel ashamed that I didn't because it's actually really good. It starts off very simple. You're this thing called Bud, who's I forgot what it stands for, something utility droid. Maybe B stands for beautiful utility droid. But you basically go around in this planet, and you're there's this tree that grows up further and further, and you start off at 0 meters and you go to 2,000 meters, and you grow the sort of branches of the plants and connect them up with different random sparse bits of land, and you're going around just sort of. It's a bit No Man's Sky-ish in the fact that you're just analysing things and going, oh, look at that cool sheep over there. There's a sheep in No Man's Sky, but you get the concept of you're just discovering what's there and all the different things. But it's quite fun in the fact of you get this, you collect more of these, I forgot what they're called, but these glowing crystal things. And the more you get, you unlock more things, like you can jump higher, you can do a rocket boost, so you can get to higher and higher points, and you can collect more things. And it's just more of an exploration game that is quite neat because the branches will only grow so far, and you have to go to a certain number of random bits of land before the tree will just shoot up, like the main stalk will shoot up. A bit like Jack and the Beanstalk meets robots, if you think like that.
Okay.
In terms of this, you've got the base beanstalk just growing up and up and up and up.
I get the concept of a beanstalk.
But it just basically, that is in its simplest form, that is what it is. But it's really fun, just sort of going around and exploring, and some of you can hover through the sky by holding a little
umbrella.
Plant. No, it's like a little.
It's like Mary Poppins.
Like a little daffodil
leaf,
thing, like a daffodil, and the leaves fall off as you're getting less and less. And then when you run out, you just drop. Yeah, so you should probably check that out. Actually, it's really good.
Do you mean dandelions?
Dandelions.
Because I was trying to figure out why daffodils would be flying.
No, what is the one with the yellow?
clover.
middle, and all the little white bits coming out, the white petals.
Uh,
Daisy with daisy chains. You make them out.
Daisy, yes,
The
Daisy.
Daisies, that is it. It's daisies. I don't know my
The
plants.
plant the daisy chains are made out of.
Yeah, daisy. I'm not a gardener. Yeah, so you get a daisy plant, you fly. But anyway, that's a really good game. Definitely should check that out if you've got PlayStation Plus, and you should as well.
Okay.
Is there any? You're saying there wasn't much else that you've played other than
No,
that game?
I mean, it's just Metal Gear and Lara Croft Go.
The only other thing I've played is Until Dawn, which
I really want to pick that up.
I did my first proper review for, which I think turned out all right. I think it was,
Good video.
like
You made me want to play it, and I hate horror games, so...
And for those wondering why I didn't put a score on it, it's because, fuck scores. You don't need them. If I'm telling you that I think you should get the game, you should get the game. It's not like, this is a 6 out of 10. Well, does that mean it's good or,
Who are you, IGN?
Yeah. But yeah, it's really good. Like, I'm even discovering things that, like, I won't spoil it, but there's a character that can lose his fingers at a certain point, only if you interact with that item in the game. So, like, it's like
too close to a knife or something. And
no, but like, so there's something that's like a point of interest, and you might walk over it to it and go, oh, should I check that out? Should I,
should
I interact with it? Should I interact with it, or should I leave it? And if you could lose your fingers, but I didn't even find that, so my character still had his fingers and didn't. So there's lots of little decisions that are things I didn't even spot that I could have picked up a pair of scissors that could have been useful for attacking the killer, or all sorts of things like that. And there's it's not just like, there's so much more to it than, there's this psycho guy with a mask on running around trying to kill. There's so much, without spoiling it, there's so much more to it than that you'll discover. And the ending of that game, regardless of you'll still end up at the same point in the ending, but how many characters you have is a different thing. And it's so tense because it uses like the controller, and you have to keep it dead still like that. And if you move it even the slightest bit, it could mean one character getting killed. So the controller will vibrate, and you'll have like something just screaming in your face, or have its face right by you, and you're like hidden away in the corner, and it's vibrating. You're like, just keep it still. God damn it, keep it still. It's so tense, and it's so good the way that it sort of ends up, and what it starts off as, and what it ends as are completely different things. And it kind of, people have said there's some pacing issues. I disagree with that, because you can't have a character being killed or trying to get killed at every single moment. You need some character development. So
I suppose that's just like any horror thing. Like, you can't have like horror all of the time. You need to have like rest areas, or just something to lower the pressure down, to take you off guard, I guess. Obviously I've not played it, but
it seems like it goes from like 100 miles an hour immediately to 0 pretty quickly for quite a while.
That might be the case, but
just out of interest, like, how much like a Telltale experience is it? Like, you're saying that you end up right at the end of the same point.
Yeah, but there's this thing. This isn't
Didn't
really.
they say there were like hundreds of endings?
I mean, the way that it ends is you get to the same point, just with different characters. But it's at the very end of it's not really a spoiler, but at the end of the credits, there's like these series of interviews that you have, and it's just asking people about like the events of what happened. You're being like, each character's being interviewed while the characters roll down, and it's this thing of like, what happened and what they said could be entirely different, and also what about the people that might have died? What did they say?
So can you complete the game with like everyone dying?
Yes. Everyone can die, and you can finish the game. I don't know what that's like. I haven't done it. Or you can save everyone. I don't know what that's like. I was doing so well, and then one character died at the very end, which I later discovered was because of the most minor thing. It's like, you should have gone left at this path and checked this out first, and then they wouldn't have. They got their heads squished. It's like, that wouldn't have happened. But,
all I know is that there's a character that dies by having her eyes gouged out at some point. I don't want to play that game, because I know that that'll be the thing that I get, and I'll cry.
I've had that.
I'll cry.
I had the head being squished, and it was disgusting. But
Is is there a cheerleader? Like, I hear the cheerleader from Heroes, isn't it?
She's
Does
not
she
really-
regenerate?
Right. What
Not really.
surprised me the most was when I saw that game, I was like, man, the main character looks like Hayden Panettiere. I can't get it out of my head that she just looks like Hayden Panettiere. Didn't realise that Hayden Panettiere was in the fucking game. I will say, the character models look really good, apart from we still haven't done water right. We still haven't done hair completely right, and I think their teeth look really weird.
I mean,
But I was going to say, like, Tomb Raider did hair.
they did hair. No,
pretty
Lara
good.
Croft was bald. They didn't do hair.
that took like so much power. But
Yeah, my computer, I picked like an AMD card specifically because I wanted to try it out, and it tanked the frame rate so bad.
isn't that that's an Nvidia thing?
No, it was an AMD
Trez
thing.
FX. Is it?
It was an AMD thing.
I'm sure Tret.
So yeah, but there is a lot of choice. It's nothing like a Telltale game. There is so much. There is even, I discovered, right, people might say, oh yeah, sure, of course, like, relationships matter. Like, of course, what you say to people matters. Like, that's what they say with every game, like Telltale games about, oh, so-and-so will remember this. In this game, I actually do remember it. And if you get on the wrong side of somebody who could potentially help you out, because you've annoyed that character, or you've got on their bad side, you've fallen out with them, that could mean them leaving you to be killed. It can in one scenario.
Although, with that said, I've heard like there is a situation where like one of the characters goes back to the house and like, oh cool, a summer house. Maybe we should have a party in here, even after everything's happened, or something ridiculous
that
like
is a ridiculous thing of like, yeah. So my other thing with that review is that most reviews out there for Until Dawn are packed with spoilers, especially GameSpot. Avoid GameSpot's review because they reveal
I've already had like one of the endings spoiled for me, and I've barely looked for anything.
They have so many spoilers in that review, but like I completely avoided all of them. Basically, something happens the first time you go there. You go back for like, this anniversary of this thing that happens, and it's like, oh yeah, so my psychiatrist or whatever said it's good for me to go back there. It kind of makes sense though, but it kind of makes sense to go that it's like like spending time with your friends there properly and not being able to do what you did last time, which is enjoy it. To a certain degree, it kind of it's for closure. Like, I understand that for closure. Also, if that didn't happen, it wouldn't make sense for any other stuff. So they need some. Like, trust me, if that didn't happen that first time you went there, it wouldn't make sense for the rest of it.
Oh, you should bring it to EGX, and then we can do a playthrough.
I was saying that to Steve, right? And he was saying, I said, oh, maybe I should bring it to Andy's. He's like, yeah, we should stream it. That'd be brilliant. Like, we should play it, and then we should. And then I was like, oh, maybe I will bring it. It's just such a good game to have, like, with friends round, because you're going, oh no, don't do that. No, hide, don't run. And it's like everybody's telling you what to do, and trying to.
Do you have enough time to do that? Like, make the decisions?
Sometimes. It depends if somebody's chasing you. There's certain things where you could sit there for ages and the character will just go. And they'll look at the choices as well. They're like, when you pick one, they go. But only slightly. But overall, it's a really good game. The only thing is just literally the frame rate can be really bad at times. Mostly just the beginning of the game. It's like there's a certain cutscene where it just goes, it just kind of dies a little bit, and then it comes back and it kind of drops to like 20 frames, and then it goes back up. But it's because it's constantly jumping between 20 and 40. And I said this in the review, but if it stayed at 30, that would have been perfectly fine. It just kind of bugs you a little bit every now and again. But
yeah, what we decided to go for was 24 frames a second to get the cinematic experience.
Why stop there? Do 10 frames.
I actually really want to play it, but I don't have a PS4. So.
I'll bring it to EGX, and we'll. Do we want to stream it at all?
Potential,
maybe.
Sure.
Can't archive those streams though because someone won't let you. I don't know. You're not allowed to archive those streams.
Aren't you?
No.
It's fine. We'll sort something out.
Anyway, that's beside the point.
We're talking about stuff that we should be talking about off air, not while we're still recording the
off air.
So you have to, when you get a chance to play it, we'll just put it in your hands, Ebbie, and you'll just see, and then we'll swap it over to Andy, and then we'll see, and then you can have a go at Andy for messing up your decisions, and Andy could say, no, your decisions were bad, and you can have a big
What, like he did with the Fallout shelter? Press the rush button! presses the rush button,
Right.
immediately fills the fucking place with radiation on rad roaches.
It's a really good game. Especially, I just love to see just playing it with people like around you as well. That'd just be even better, I think. So yeah, let's do that. So that's all from me in terms of games I've played.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's our week of what we've done, gaming wise.
By the way, wait, hold on.
By the way, I've got something. Just wait.
On Friday
Stop.
this week, it's going to be 2 months until Fallout 4.
Oh yeah. Oh, I completely forgot to mention. What's the next game that you're planning on getting? Is it Fallout 4? Is there anything
Fallout
before
4.
that you're not?
Mario Maker.
Annie's Mario Maker. I'm still.
The Fallout anthology?
So there's no games before that.
Everything comes out after Fallout, so I'm going to buy them and not play them for like 4 months.
So Andy, you're saying Mario Maker?
Mario Maker, yeah, which comes out on Friday this week.
Yeah, it does. I'm probably going to get Mario Maker. I mean, it's only like £30, and from what I've heard, it's a lot of replayability. As long as you don't expect it to be more than just a game where you play other people's levels, which is essentially its core what it is.
That's all I really want from it, to be honest. So yeah.
I cancelled my pre-order for Mario Maker.
Oh, did you? Why's that?
I realised that I'm really bad at Mario platformers. Like, the 2D side-scrollers, can't do them.
Now's your chance to get good. And
No. I was playing, what was it, Mario 3 the other day, and I just couldn't do it. I just could not do it. Can't do it. I don't know. I can play Mario 64 flawlessly. Can't do any of the 2D stuff. Disappointed in myself.
Okay, well,
Fallout
I think
4.
Yeah, Fallout 4 and Mario Maker is the one we're looking forward to. So, if you guys have enjoyed this, let us know, and also let us know what games you've been playing this week. If you're going to talk about Metal Gear, don't put any
spoilers.
Or Until Dawn, don't put any game. Don't put any spoilers.
Just don't spoil anything.
Any recent games that come out, don't spoil them.
And don't spoil Xenoblade Chronicles, even though that's not recent, because Andy hasn't finished it yet.
Yes. Other than that, yeah, so check out those videos we've done recently. Like I really think you should check out the training montage, because Andy, put some effort in that, in making that video. It's really...
What do you mean put some effort into that video?
No, I mean it in
all
a way.
the other videos Andy's done, he's not putting effort
This is like
into
one of those situations where it's like almost an accidental backhanded compliment. But what I mean is, like, it was really well done, is what I meant to say. It's really well done. You can tell that Andy put effort into that. He got Doritos in his hair. He got Doritos in his eyes. He spilt Monster Energy drink for you guys. So the least you can do is go and check it out.
I'm still finding Doritos around the flat.
So,
you
owe it to yourself to check out the video. It's great. And just check out some of the other videos recently we've done and let us know what you think, because we're trying to do some different things and see what people think of them. But other than that, that has been all from me and Andy and Ebbie and Steve, who is now turned back into a ghost again. But from all of us, it is goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.